push the button when I close it.
Everyone ready to go? Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dan Patrick. I'm the Lieutenant Governor of Texas. I've been in touch with Governor Abbott today. He is out of the country on a pre-planned trade mission, but we have been in touch. And in his absence, I'm acting governor whenever he is out of the state or out of the country, and I will be overseeing the operation on what is still a hurricane, even though some thought it would be a tropical depression once it went over the Yucatan Peninsula. Even though it's still over land, it is still a hurricane category 1 at this time. We wanted to get together today to talk about the next couple of days for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you look at a couple of the charts that we brought in today, you can see just since July 3rd how the track and the cone has moved more to Texas, away from Mexico. You know, this storm began Monday. It has devastated several islands in the Caribbean. It's the earliest category 5 storm in history. This is a determined storm that is still strong, even over the Yucatan Peninsula. It's not broken up as the National Weather Service may have predicted at some point. So as we saw the track move our way, and right now the cone goes all the way almost up to the Texas-Louisiana border, everyone along the coast should be paying attention to this storm. We pray and we hope for nothing more than a rain event, but even a rain event may be very heavy, and we'll talk more about that. But we prepare at the state for the worst case scenario. And we have the best emergency management team in the country. They have been working on and preparing for this storm in the event it turned towards Texas for some days now. Our Chief Nimkin and I have been talking since about 4 o'clock yesterday morning, or sooner than that, so that we are prepared. And we want you to be prepared. In fact, one of our concerns is that we're in the middle of a July 4th holiday weekend. Not as many people are home watching the news or paying attention to the news. They're having fun at the beach or just in their backyard and enjoying their families. So, family who are vacationing along our coast, it might be a great idea for you to text them, call them, or email them and ask them to pay attention to the weather over the next couple of days. Right now, it appears that this storm either is a tropical storm with heavy rain that could be 12 to 15. Not exactly sure yet where that may be, whether it's heavy rain and flooding, or if it's a hurricane category 1, 2, or worse. It would be here likely on Monday, and we'd start seeing the impact of that starting on Sunday. Again, we're preparing for the worst, praying and hoping for the least amount of rain and a lesser storm, but you want to be in position of wherever you're going to be by Monday. Remember, seldom does wind cause death in a hurricane. It's flooding. That's the most dangerous position for someone trying to drive in flooded waters on flooded roads. I've just finished a briefing, a very deep briefing with our Emergency Management Council of the state, all over the state, and our local mayors and judges have been in touch with the chief for the last couple of days, and they are preparing. So once again, we hope and we pray for nothing more than a rain event, although that will still be heavy rain in some areas, flooding in some areas, pretty much for sure. But we're going to have to be patient, not preparing, and you should not be patient preparing, but we're going to have to see this storm move off of the peninsula, off the land, and into the Gulf of Mexico. And once that does, in the next 15 to 20 hours or so, it's a very slow-moving storm, about 6 miles per hour, very slow-moving storm. Once it moves into the water, the storm will tell us more of where it's heading, and we'll know to be able to pinpoint it much more than we can today. But right now, if you're along the coast from Brownsville to the Louisiana border, pay attention to this storm, because you have about 2 days, the rest of today and tomorrow and some of Sunday, to prepare when it hits on Monday. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the chief of the Texas Division of Emergency Management, who is the best in the country and has been down this road many times, and I have been down this road many times with Governor Abbott as well, of the storms we've had. I'll turn it over to Nimkin to give you a briefing, and then we can take questions at the end.
Thank you, Governor. You know, our thoughts and prayers are with those that are already in Beryl's path and those that have lost loved ones, but our actions are right here in Texas. Life safety is our #1 priority. We will make sure that state agencies and resources are available to support all of our local government partners. We have been in contact, and I've texted every one of the county judges along the coast from Brownsville, Cameron County, all the way up to Matagorda County. Our goal is to make sure that they have every resource that they need from the state in order to be able to warn and protect their communities. The next thing we really need is a prepared community. And as Governor Patrick said, a lot of people are out having fun right now, and that's a good thing. And we want them to continue to do that. But we also want them to prepare. We need a prepared community, not a panicked community. As the governor mentioned, we really won't know for several more hours of exactly where landfall may be, but we have high confidence that this system is coming somewhere to Texas. With that, we would ask that people take the time to make sure that their vehicles are fueled, make sure that they have food and water, and that they've taken care of their pets, check on their family members, and take the time now to prepare so that whenever this thing is making landfall, you're already where you need to be.
And for the folks who aren't on the coast or don't live near the coast, even up as far as San Antonio, New Braunfels, Waco, maybe even in 5 or 6 days at Texarkana, there could be heavy rain. And heavy rain could be 8 inches, could be 10 inches, could be 12 inches or more, and could be flooding. Because again, this is a slow-moving storm, and hurricanes and tropical storms drop a lot of rain in a short period of time, and the longer that storm is over the area, the more rain it drops. So I think with confidence we can say there will be flooding.
Yes,
We just can't pinpoint it yet, but do not relax. Sit back and say, well, that's going to hit the coast, and I'm fine if you're a few counties inland, because this storm could bring a lot of rain. I also want to mention, if you're along the coast, again, if you have family and friends that are vacationing on the coast, text them, make sure they pay attention, but tell them about the rip currents. You always hear about it, but the rip currents are going to be really bad. We've already had some incidences with rip currents already, but the rip currents, when this storm starts moving our way in another 48 hours, will only get worse. And it will be pretty dangerous to be in the water once you get to Sunday, or even now and tomorrow. They're just strong.
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
Governor, you mentioned, of course, it's a holiday weekend.
Yes.
Just to emphasize the point, how are travel conditions looking, road conditions, flight schedules? How is that going to influence how people get home?
So drivetexas.org is the place that we would like for you to be helping us get that message out. TxDOT has already talked to their construction crews and their maintenance crews to make sure all evacuation routes and any of the construction zones are free and clear of debris. Texas Highway Patrol is out monitoring those roadways as well. And listen, we're talking to our local county judges and mayors. Remember, in Texas, mayors and judges are the only ones that can mandate an evacuation. Our conversation with those judges along the coast is some of them have issued voluntary evacuations already for low-lying areas, and we're going to have to start watching, because when tropical storm force winds, 35 miles an hour or greater, start moving in, those that are along the coast in RVs are going to have a very hard time traveling. So that's why we need your help in getting that message out now, to pay attention to the weather. Don't let it ruin your plans, but be ready for whenever this storm comes ashore.
Chief, do you anticipate Highway 77 going into contraflow, and if so, when?
You know, Rudy, that's a great question. I don't anticipate that right now, because there's so much uncertainty of the storm, and we don't necessarily see the amount of storm surge yet that would require contraflow.
Mentioning surge and the uncertainty, what preparations are needed or are being made in terms of protecting oil refineries and rigs on the coast right now?
Yeah, great question. So one of the weather services that we use, in addition to the National Weather Service, is a private contractor that all of those rigs use. They've already started moving their people out for unnecessary employees to be in a safe place.
Lieutenant Governor, I noticed Corpus Christi posted on their Facebook site this morning, they have issued 10,000 sandbags that are out. Is there anything the state can help these small communities replenish the sandbag stuff? Is that being done?
Yes, it is being done, and you've got the specifics on that.
And Rudy, we'll reach back out and talk to them.
Yes.
I'm not aware that they've even asked us for help yet, but we'll reach out to them. Thanks for that heads up.
Some folks along the coast have brought up the issue that they've experienced in the aftermath of past storms, the price gouging for food and essentials. Can you elaborate on?
If that's the case, please notify us, let us know. The Attorney General will look into that, and let's hope that does not happen. And if it does, we'll hear about it and we'll pursue it.
Can we expect landfall in inland in San Antonio area, Bear County?
We will have rain, for sure.
Yeah, so we need to wait until this storm gets back out into the Gulf
Yeah.
to really get confidence in the forecast track of how high the wind speed will be and the pinpoint of the location. I think people, as the governor said, even inland need to pay attention come Sunday and Monday. We believe you're going to have rain all the way into the I-35 corridor. Does not mean you're going to have tropical storm or hurricane force winds. We won't know that with certainty until later this weekend.
Also, for people who have tuned in, if you don't know how to check your local mayor and county judge and what's going on in your county or your cities, go to TDEM, TDEM.Texas, spelled out, TEXAS.gov. That's TDEM, TD as in Dan, TDEM.Texas.gov. And you can get all of our updates there, which we're constantly updating you. We will do a following press conference if and when necessary as we know more. But we will constantly update all the information on the storm. And for your area, you can track on our website down to your area to get your local information.
Just off of that, are there any areas in Central Texas that you are particularly concerned about with flooding that has happened in the past before? People should be looking out for any areas?
You know, I would say, and that will help us determine, and we've got about 2 to 3 days before we start seeing the real impacts of that. I would hate to put people in any sort of panic mode right now about where it may be and then it not show up there. What we do know is this thing is going to impact Texas somewhere, and it's going to drop a lot of rain. We need a little bit of patience, as the governor mentioned, between now and the time that it gets back out into the Gulf to have a better idea of where it's going.
I'll just conclude by saying I've lived in Texas 42 years, and most of it in the coastal area. And the thing I always am concerned about are people being prepared, and particularly storms that hit us like this one coming across the peninsula relatively in a short time, as opposed to seeing it out coming up through the Gulf, and it's, you know, the target is on somewhere on the Texas coast and we see it for days and days ahead. And this storm, you know, a lot of people don't even realize probably there's a hurricane out there about to come into the Gulf. So that's a real concern, and that's why we wanted to have the press conference today, to be sure, no panic, preparation, but we are going to be prepared for the worst, and we have assets ready to deploy as soon as we know a better direction of where that storm is going. But everyone along the coast should be vigilant, be in place by Monday wherever you're going to be. Monday will not be a good driving day for most counties. I issued a declaration, a disaster declaration earlier today for 39 counties, and as need be, we will add counties as we get more direction on that storm. So a serious weather event is coming. We don't know exactly where. Be prepared. We will be prepared. Your local mayors and county judges are being prepared. And stay safe, and God bless everyone. God bless Texas.
Can you explain what that preemptive declaration does? Why is that important, and what does that do?
Yeah, if I can take that,
Yeah.
if that's all right with you. One is it got your attention?
Yes.
I need your help getting the message out,
Yes,
right? So that's
yes.
one thing that it does. The second thing is it allows not only my agency, but the other state agencies on the council to go ahead and spend money that may be outside of their budget to do emergency protective measures. The third thing it allows our local county judges in cities and counties to do the same thing. So it's warning to the public that there is an event that's taken very seriously, and then allows us to move resources and do contracts that we need to do right away.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you all very much.
Need a frame. Block and tackle.
I mean, it's not any better upstairs.
There's airflow.
Oh, dude, thanks for asking. It was amazing. A lot cooler than. Yeah. It was like 45 degrees. How are things at the church?
Scissors.
I got some videos, but yeah, I think that would be better, just to cut through the glass layer, you know?
I will.